There we go. Hey. Hey. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey. 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 I should have some music on. I really should have some music on. Welcome to the G Spot Live, y'all. I'm inviting folks like I normally do. Are you coming on to join me, even though I'm a little late? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're coming in, hey everybody, thanks for saying hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just taking a moment to invite some folks in. Hey. 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 I'm a little late. No excuses. I had some spontaneousness happen for me last night with my husband. We went out. We were craving New Orleans, craving home, and decided to... Well, actually, let me tell you what happened. We were homesick. We were craving home. Like, how did we end up here? Why did we stay here? Because, you know, they said that it was going to rain in New Orleans, that it was going to be a rain out. So, you know, initially we were really excited and like, okay, well, we're glad that we are going to wait until Jazz Fest to come. And so it doesn't matter when you know the area, when you feel that vibration, you'll always crave it. You'll always want to experience it over and over again. Anybody from New Orleans can tell you it's never the same. It always offers some type of revival. And of course, I can tell you more about carnival season and what carnival season really means and all of that good stuff. But I'm telling you, New Orleans is a special place, and I just can't emphasize that enough. Even though, you know, I'm born and raised right down the road in Mississippi, I consider New Orleans to be my heart town. My hometown is in Mississippi, but New Orleans is my heart town. It is really helpful to be partnered with someone that is from the South, that gets it. I give thanks for having me, a good old Southern man in my life. And so anyway, sorry, I was going off into my gratitude moment, but we were dancing, conjuring, having ourselves a dance break on Lundi Gras, which is Monday. So, you know, carnival season really is almost about a full month-long season. And so you go from carnival season into Mardi Gras week. And Mardi Gras week, you start to count down pretty much at Lundi Gras, which is Monday. And then Fat Tuesday was yesterday. And so on Lundi Gras, we were up dancing. We were doing Indian chants. Indian chants is the Mardi Gras Indians, for those of you who don't know. It's very much kin to a lot of the African traditional religions, even if they don't know it, because of the chant, because of the dance, the prayers, the culture, and all of that. And so we were doing that, and that was conjuring. And so here it is, Mardi Gras Day, going on about our business. And we basically, he saw on television that there was a Mardi Gras festival happening down at the wharf. He came in the room and he said, LaTanya, we just conjured a whole Mardi Gras. Now, mind you, my friends from Louisiana, I have a quite bit of a network right here in the DC area, which is probably why I stayed so long, even before I met him. And they've started to do them every year. We've always done some type of Mardi Gras something, and we dance and play the music from New Orleans, and it's fun to do it with people who are from New Orleans, who get the second line, the buck jump, the trance that happens when you experience it. So now all of us have gotten a little older, and so that celebration has transformed into a full-on Mardi Gras ball. Now, if you understand and know anything about New Orleans, it doesn't matter whether you're in a ball gown, a tuxedo, or a wedding dress for that matter. You buck jump, you dance, you have a good time. We are not like these DC folks who stand around, talk to each other, and trade networking tips and all of that foolishness. Like, it really is a party. And it really doesn't even matter your title. New Orleans is a place also where I met priests who were very much in touch with themselves, and they would have themselves some cognac and dance with the family and all of that good stuff. And there was no judgment. There was no hiding. So New Orleans is a special place. I don't know why I got on and talking about New Orleans. Because I really wanted you to know that we conjured a whole Mardi Gras. Within 5 minutes of walking up to the little party, I had on a mask and I got interviewed. This is the mask I had on. Actually, I've had it in the closet because I intend to frame it. This is the mask. And I intend to frame it because it kind of spoke to me and told me, to do that. And so, someone from a television station, whether it's small or large, I have no idea. All I know is they were from Dubai. They walked up and asked me to share, like, briefly a couple of things about DC, why they were having Mardi Gras, and then also more about New Orleans. We conjured all of those experiences, and it wasn't planned. So this is the year that we're living in. Now, that can happen anytime. It doesn't just have to happen on high energy grid days or high energy grid seasons, but this entire year is a high energy year because of it being a master number 11. Now, I asked the question at the top, can you feel it? I really do want to know, can you feel it? Can you feel what is happening in the air? Some of you may feel the lethargy. You may feel scattered. You might feel like chilling, you may be introspective. Every person may be at a different place, but what you're feeling may be a little different than what you felt before, or you're feeling more of it because, all right, here we go. So we came in, and I'm going to do a review. It's always helpful to do a review. I'm a teacher at heart, trained and everything, so I have to do a review. We came into 2018 on a full moon. A full moon always asks you to release. All right? We're in a master number 11 year, a quantum year. That sets the stage. So anything that you feel, sense, experience, desire is going to be magnified, even if it's on the negative side of the spectrum. Then we go into another full moon eclipse in the month of January. Another full moon and an eclipse asking us to release. Okay, you got that? You got the review. The review is important, very important, y'all. So I want you to stay with me. I want to know if you got that part of the review before I go on. So now here it is, right at 2 weeks later. We're getting ready for another eclipse. within 24 hours. So that means that since last week, we've been feeling it. So we came out of one eclipse on the 30th, 31st, which it takes about a week, sometimes 10 days for you not to feel it. But then that brings us into about February 9th or 10th. So we are going from one cosmic grid of intensity, magnification, and amplification into now, right? For another one, which means that the entire month of February, which, yes, another one is coming up in about 24 hours. I think it's going to happen. Let me look. Yeah, the 15th of February, at about 9 o'clock. Okay, is going to be the start. Like, seriously, this is no joke. I'm smiling and laughing, but some of you may not have been doing that, right? So now today is Lent. It doesn't matter whether you're Catholic. It does not matter whether you're Episcopal. Lent is a sacred time. It represents those 40 days and 40 nights, like when Jesus went into the Garden of Gethsemane and the transformation happened, right? But 40 in and of itself represents change. So mind you, you got the review, right? Where we are. And today is Lent. Like, literally 2018 is a divine setup. I really have been encouraging you all to use the divine setups, whether it be getting your astrological understanding of your chart. Even though some of you have had readings with me to get your birth chart read, it's helpful when you know those 3 areas that I taught you. Don't put them in the comments, because we want people who haven't had their reading to experience it. Because you always want to know where you are in the process of the Earth's movement. Because as a woman, the Earth is represented by woman. We call it Mother Earth. There's a reason for that, right? And so when you start to think about divine setups, you have to use them. And there gets to be, doesn't have to be, a sense of urgency, a sense of not being willing to let a desire, an ache, a craving linger. It's important for us to give ourselves permission during this time to dive in deeper in ourselves and in our desires, right? So sometimes when you start this journey, my mouth is juicy. Let me drink mine. I haven't eaten anything this morning. This is my first thing. On Wednesdays, it might look easy to just come up here and do this for any of us, but Spirit starts working with me the moment I wake up, sometimes for days before I come on. This has been a divine setup for those who have your eyes open, for those who can see. And this is why I always say to you, never stop doing your work. It's easy for melanated women, hey sweetheart, because we are so capable. We've had to be so strong. We've had to fill in the gaps where sometimes either our parents place so much weight on who we were, or where our parents were not. And sometimes we have to be deliberate in creating the gap. Some of us need a gap in between where we were, where we are, and where we desire to be. Where we desire to be is not any sense of failure for where you are right now. That's been coming up in my spirit so much. for us on this journey. See, you don't have to be perfect. When you really do a biblical study of everybody, not one of the so-called servants or the books that the disciples were perfect. Not one. And so where does this idea of perfection come from? It comes from hypocritical men. I could have left a little gap for you to answer that question. And so now it's regurgitated in households all throughout America, or missionaries go into places to tell people who are native and aboriginal to the land that they aren't living right. And so now we have this degeneration of man and womanhood. And even for those of us, I always say this. Iyanla said it one time. It is not original. For those of you who have an issue with comparing yourself, or feeling behind, or feeling like, you aren't where you should be, or your children aren't where they need to be. For those of you who have this spirit of comparison and envy and jealousy, it's not something that oftentimes we share openly, or we might call it something else. But right now, it's very, very important for those of you, no matter where you are in your journey, in your marriage, in your work, in your projects, in your evolving, no matter where you are, until we get to this place of I am where I need to be, and you begin to have a party right where you are, then it's going to feel like strain and struggle and not ever being able to be satisfied and satiated and fulfilled. And trust me, most of you who watch, whether you're silent or whether you are active and participating in the dialogue on Wednesdays, or posting in the group, or active in another process that I may have going on, being a type A woman is very common in the United States. And there are women who are having their adrenals exhausted by this grind that we put ourselves on, this fear, this spirit of comparison. And I'm not saying that the spirit of comparison is not new. In fact, it's very ancient, where we see somebody else with something that we have. And so one of the things that we talk about when you take on the juicy journey is when you hear of another person that's well, first of all, it's important to get in proximity to other people who are on the journey that you either want to be on, or that's on the journey that you're on. Because I'll give you a simplified example. A lot of people complain about having to delete people off of your Facebook feed or whatever, right? Well, first of all, if you screen who you befriend in the first place, then you don't have to go back and delete them. Second of all, when you are vibrating at a certain rate, it will not come nigh your dwelling. So one sister, she probably will be watching later. She was sharing with me how she said, I've had to delete a lot of people who are into that race consciousness, and they keep on talking about race and race this and race that. And I said, really? I said, I don't see any of that. Now, every now and then I see some thought leaders, writers and authors who are talking about it. I'm engaged in some groups around bridging the gap between white women and black women. I'm engaged in some of that. But I'm not inundated with it. The same is true for the areas in our life. When you're dating, when you're in business, when you are beginning to expand and open your heart, opening your heart doesn't mean that you become a doormat or a martyr for other people. And so I ask you, can you feel it? Because even when you are feeling uncomfortable with where you are, there is a word for it. I want everyone to, in fact, I'm gonna give you a definition of it real quickly. The word that I want you to become familiar with is divine discontent. Divine discontent. Divine discontent is known to be something you need to get into or something that you need to get out of. Divine discontent is feels like an uneasiness. It feels like something is not right, but nothing's wrong. It can feel like everything's wrong, but so many of the external measurements of what's right are in place, right? And oftentimes it's happening on the inside. Sometimes even divine discontent can turn into dark nights of the soul. Divine discontent and dark nights of the soul, and when you're in seasons like this, is not a bad thing. It's a call to grow. It's a call to change. It's a call to surrender. It's a call to release. And how many of you know, I'm going to raise my hand now because I know the question, you can have everything. The money, you can have a clothes full of closet, a closet full of clothes, a clothes full of closet. You can have a closet full of clothes. You can have the car that you desire. You can have all of the things. But it could be that one thing that makes you take survey of, is this what I really desire? Your health. Anybody ever been in a health crisis? You got everything. You're driving the luxury vehicle. You've already bought your house at an early age, or you may be on your second or third house. You may have made some great investments in property or in the stocks. Like, it's not all about performance and what we're doing. I've been talking about this all week. It's about beingness. And every time that in my coaching, when I get to beingness, this is the place where the magic happens, because beingness is truly the magic of being a woman. Yet at the same time, we are so disconnected from beingness and we don't trust beingness. So a lot of times we want insurance policies. Somebody write that down. We want insurance policies. We want someone to guarantee, particularly when it comes to coaching and counseling and therapy and relationships, we want someone to guarantee that if I do this, then I'm gonna get that. And the only guarantee is the experience, right? We want guarantees, and that's not true surrender. That's not true living. One of the things, today is Valentine's Day, so that's another reason to ask, can you feel it? Because everybody's going to be feeling something different on this day. You may not celebrate Valentine's Day, but hell, if you get on Facebook and start doing the thumb scroll and start seeing people posting red roses and dinner out and proposals and all that type of thing, you thumb scrolling and you don't know that you felt that. You didn't know that you felt like something was missing until you see what somebody else has, right? These days like this can make you wonder. And I ask you about, can you feel it? Because sometimes we're also numb. Sometimes a sister can experience enough divine discontent to ask for help. You can experience enough divine discontent that you only have the strength and the courage to say, I know I need to do something. I don't necessarily know what I want. I don't necessarily have a problem or issue that I'm aware of, but I know I can feel something, right? And you may feel just enough to know what you need to know to move. Numb. Many of us stopped feeling a long time ago. And when I start talking about pleasure, some of us are so numb and so desensitized when it comes to pleasure, even the idea. How many of you, and this is probably none of you who are watching right now, okay? How many of, I'm just going to put it out there to the invisible woman. How many of my invisible good girls gone goddess have paid for the juicy process or something with me, and then you don't show up? I'm not even dealing with the people who don't show up at all because they're so numb. So I had this sister, she stopped me once, and she paid for the Juicy You 3 times and did not show up 1 time. And each time I allowed her to come in because I always do an entrance interview for the Juicy You. Not really an entrance interview, I should say that differently, an activation session. And so I also know when there's something more going on most of the time. And I'll go as far as you desire to go. So I already knew the second time that she didn't show up. And I saw your comment, Keela. I don't even want to... Y'all don't have to confess or anything. But I knew that there was more going on. And so she pulled me to the side after the marriage had already ended, because sometimes you would rather go numb, holding on the grip so tight for what it is that you have or what you think you have. You'll go numb holding like this. You will let your muscles atrophy in the position of holding on so tight of the security that you think you have, the love you think you have, the life that you're protecting, the image, and you're not even wrenching. You're just holding on. And even though you could just be holding on a little bit, you're numb until either the rope is snatched that you're holding on to, or you finally decide to let it go. Now, have you ever done that? Have y'all ever played tug of war? Have you ever had to do exercises like the ropes course or something like that, where you had to hold on? If any of you have been in the military, you know you get a lot of experience with holding on, climbing, and that type of thing. I don't know if you all know that I was ROTC destined for the military at one point in my life, career in the military. That was the beginning of my rebirth, is right there. So you holding on, not holding on to nothing. You think you're holding on to something. But when you finally let it go, you don't even know that you can't feel anything anymore. And when the feeling starts to come back into your hands, it feels like a throbbing, a pulsation, even before you realize how tender that spot is or whether the skin could be torn. There are people who have said that they've had gunshot wounds, and they don't even know that they're shot because of the adrenaline of survival, running, whatever the case may be, until they look down and they see the blood, or they start to lose life in parts of their body. I hope you don't know anybody that's been shot, but I do, and I've heard them tell these stories. And what I'm saying is being numb is in womanhood, yet being accomplished being an achiever, having a degree. You can be a PhD and numb. You can live in Fort Washington. Y'all know that's the wealthiest black community in the country, and be numb and cut off and disconnected. You can be married and numb. You can be married and not committed. So listen, don't look at anybody else's life. You can be sponsoring events, and you looking at the person that has speaking engagements, that has the microphone, but they're in debt, or they hate what they do. I know people who are doctors. They went to medical school. Some of them will tell you. Some of them have been in through the juicy process, and they will tell you they feel trapped by even those years of academics. They feel trapped because that is not who they are. I'm laying in on this is because a lot of times as women, we feed off of each other, but we also can feed negatively off of each other if we aren't careful, right? And this season, I'm asking you, can you feel it? Can you feel that there is time for a shift? Can you feel it that you are the one that has been called to do whatever it takes, no matter how many times it takes for you to get it? Stop judging how many processes you've had to do. Stop judging how many times you quit. The thing is, do you get up and go back? Stop judging it. Stop judging it or using it as an excuse to hide, to fall back. Stop using it as an excuse when you're lazy and you don't want to deal with life. It's better for us to just tell the damn truth. I don't want to be the one. I don't know how to take care of myself. A lot of us have wanted husbands because we really didn't believe that we have the capacity to take care of ourselves. Or your mother taught you that you needed a husband because she didn't believe, or she came from the school of belief that a woman doesn't have the capacity to take care of herself. And so then we end up trapped even in marriages, trapped in professions, trapped even in noble causes. My preacher friends can tell you, especially if they have built a life of inauthenticity, yet you are a reverend or a pastor of a church, and you start to say, I can't do that because I'm a pastor. I can't let them see me do that. Don't you let them know this, and don't you let them know that. And this is a new season. The church, the religion is dying because it is not based in truth. Because every man's version of God shifts based on their life experience. And that is why it's dangerous. It is dangerous to stay in a position. I say it all the time. Whatever, look, don't trade places, right? Some of us have done nothing, but you say, I hear women say this all the time. I'm free. I'm free. And this was what I do. I want y'all to see my eyes. I remember when I used to think that I was free. And it felt good. It felt good to be free from that particular thing, that particular season. But freedom is not just, I don't go to church anymore. Freedom is not just because you have an African name. Freedom is not just because you decide to have a little sex because you know that you're not going to hell. Freedom is not just because you let your boobs show a little bit. That's not just freedom. A lot of times what we do is we trade places. We trade places. All we do is we leave one thing, we don't fully heal, release, and let go, and just carry it over into the new thing. We use a new language. So now you're using metaphysical language on top of your bondage. Don't throw nothing at me. Don't you throw nothing at me. We use metaphysical language on top of bondage. We use spiritual words on top of bondage. Hiding. Freedom is something that has to be experienced. Freedom is something that happens at stages. You see, even though I'm trained as a metaphysician, you throwing something at me, Ariel. Look, I love you, Lily. I'm here for you, baby. Call me. Freedom is not just because you wear red bottoms and some tight blue jeans and you can let your booty pop. That's not freedom. That's not freedom. Look at all the women who are peep poppers. Peep poppers, showstoppers. Wait. Look at all the women who are talking about they bossed up, that they're a boss lady. Are they free? Are you judging freedom just because someone had what they have in their bank account? Are you judging freedom based off of you see them traveling? Listen. Who are you without all of that? Who are you without the title? Who are you without the things? Who are you without the makeup? Who are you without even the beating yourself up? I mean, even that, the overanalyzing, the overthinking. Who are you without the rules? Who are you without the wound? Right? Who are you? Come on. I wish I could get somebody to come on here. I don't know if Sabira is watching. Don't you think I got to use her? I can use her because we're in covenant as ministers together. And I know she wouldn't mind me saying this because she shared it. She's written it in a book. And Tanya, maybe even you can talk about this. When Sabira went through the experience of breast cancer, she had to ask herself, who am I without my breast? Damn. When you are a woman as full and as me, I got big old nursing boobs. I got big old childbearing hips. But I hadn't had a baby yet. My whole ministry and brand is around rebirth. Who am I still a mother? You got to know I had to ask myself that. Who are you without your PhD? Who are you without your husband? And who are you without your Mercedes, your BMW? Who are you? And so why is it that oftentimes people have stories of when they lost it all by force? It's very few stories of people who gave it up by choice. And I'm not saying you got to give up anything in order to get something, because then that falls into the dogma of sacrifice. You do know that the whole idea of sacrifice is really very dogmatic. It comes from a martyr theology that I got to give up something. And this is why, this is a good segue for me to say this. This is why I do the Juicy You during Lent. Let me say this. Let me share personally from my heart. I always share from my heart, but I'm going deeper. I had to face the fact that I was addicted to God and to religion. It's very easy for me to do a fast, to discipline myself in a process. Very easy for me because I've been doing it for so long. I looked at myself when I was in divine discontent. Earlier, I talked about divine discontent if you just joined, and what divine discontent is. Dark night of the soul. Well, I did lose something, because loss will make you look at some things. I lost my father in the physical. I remember I had been serving. I talk about my brother Ron Davis, but I'm telling you, we've had there was a challenge for me at one point, because, and I know he wouldn't mind me saying this because he always kept it real. Let me tell you something about your girl. One of the reasons why I can do business coaching is because I have built so many other people's business and organizations. That's why I can talk about love, sex, and money. And so I'm talking about since I was young, y'all. 19 years old is when I went into the nation. When you go into the nation, I was given a badge, a real badge. I was an officer. I went to do problem solving around the country on behalf of the officials of the mosque. I always excelled in business to leadership and to management and that type of thing. But then I go on my religious journey. Even when I left the mosque, I found myself serving with Iyanla. I'm a product of my mother from before Oprah, before she was all popular. Flying up here from Chicago to study, to do work with her, to apprentice with her and all of the healers and all of the team. And I mean serve. And then I accepted my call to ministry, and I went to serve in ministry in a pulpit, and then I felt some divine discontent. My call was starting to get bigger on the inside of me. I kind of already knew that. I've always known that I was a teacher. I'm going somewhere. I'm walking slow through this because I want you to hear why I say I was addicted to religion and to God, and why I had to interrupt that. I didn't know this because I have a servant's heart. I'm a natural leader. I felt the discontent. And one day, I think someone told me, it may have been Spirit who told me directly, you're hiding sitting in that pulpit. You chose that so that you won't have to develop your own church. Now mind you, Iyanla had told me, they told me you have a pastoral anointing. And when she told me that, I got flipped. I said, well, they didn't tell me, so I don't know about all that. I did the things that she asked me to do because they had an expiration date, so I thought. But what she would do is always tell me that they had an expiration date, and then she'd slip off. My first response always would be a little annoyance and anger. I didn't know she was preparing me. So I don't even know if I want to make this video public. I'm saying so much on camera right now. And so, mind you, I left that pulpit. I went to another ministry that I thought was, okay, well, it's more aligned. When I go to this ministry, that sister says to me, LaTanya, I want you to open the second church. I want you to open the number 2 of this church. Now, at this point, I'm standing more firm in who I am. I'm doing my work in the feminine. I'm flowing. Nothing's wrong. Nothing was wrong except that I was pushing my own edges personally. So I started creating these programs with the help of Vicky. It's good to have people around you who know what your gifts are. It's good to have people around you who push you. It's good to have people around you who won't let you hide. Don't get mad at those people. Don't get mad at them. Don't cut them off. Don't not answer their phone calls. Don't stop investing in yourself. Show up. We have to do it this way right now. because we're doing things that our mothers didn't know. This wisdom has been hidden from us for a reason. And I can't even remember what work I was doing. And someone said to me, I don't fast like that anymore. I don't fast from the spirit of deprivation. I don't do fasting like that anymore. It's so easy even for us as black people to go into deprivation models for healing. So the reason that I do the Juicy You, and the reason why I built the Juicy You for you to be able to do it more than one time, is because we're always in a different season of our life, number one. And number two is because my process is not about deprivation. You can heal your life through pleasure. You can heal your life and know your purpose and walk in your passion through placing something in it. A lot of us still are challenged. Trust me, the transformations that have happened in that 30 and 40 day process have astounded me. And even when I wanted to quit doing Juicy, even when other people started to duplicate and mimic what I have placed out, I wanted to quit because I don't like doing what everybody else is doing. I'm not that girl. Y'all, my whole story is the road less traveled. So I don't like it. When I see that something becomes trendy, I check it out, I question it, I research it. I ain't trying to do that. And that's another thing that is frustrating a lot of us in business and in ministry. We see everybody doing something and we want to go fish in the same pond and wonder why we're not getting a catch. Because many of us are afraid to be different. And it's also arrogant. What we're producing is a lot of those of you who are called, who are priestess, who are the one. But let me tell you, I couldn't answer the call to be the one if I did not align myself with the wisdom of elders who have walked before me, who have gone in and walked down paths that I have to walk in order to get to the path that's going to unfold for me as I walk it. There is a path that's going to unfold for you as you walk it. Yes, there are some paths that have been paved for you by your ancestors. Yes, there are some teachers and some way showers and some shamans and some medicine men and some healers, but that are going to escort you. But the point of it is that we make ourselves not necessary. There is a place. Look, my vision. I need an editor for this video because I feel like this video is going to be good for somebody. But I do want some of this edited out because I'm telling you, I'm going private. Sometimes the wealthiest people are the people who are not, they don't have a public identity. But then I will start getting into law and jurisprudence because some of us don't know that there's a difference between the public and the private. And we operate in the public because we have a birth certificate. And from the birth certificate mindset, we think that we have to pay bills. So when our bills not paid, we think that we equate our worth. There's so much I could say on that, but we will as we talk about money. My question to you is, can you feel it today? And if you can feel it, what do you feel? I'm gonna go back through the comments. Was this enough for you for today? I'm going to tell you about this moon. Let me tell you, before I go back through the comments, let me say this. Right now, I can't think of every moon that we've had. No, yes, I can. The first one was in Cancer. This particular new moon is in Scorpio. In Aquarius. I'm sorry. Let me tell you a little bit about Aquarius. Any Aquarius is in the house? Anybody married to an Aquarius? Aquarius energy is rebel energy. Hey, Kathy! How you doing, Kathy? Be do love, Kathy! Aquarius is a rebellious energy. Aquarius is an air sign. A lot of people think that Aquarius is a water sign because they're pouring out the water. Aquarius energy, by design, they're not bullish like a Taurus, or bullish and resistant. But an Aquarius does not go with the status quo. We're in a season where we're going to see more movements like Me Too. We're going to see more movements like Time Is Up. This is the year of the woman. There's a reason for that. Women are change makers. We are the shift that the planet has been waiting for. And because the men of this world have dishonored women to the point of cursing their own bloodlines, this is beyond color. It is women. And this is why this conversation between black women and white women are heating up, because there are some white women who watch my lives and comment. This is my message to white women. You cannot continue to take the blonde, passive approach to you don't know why. I didn't do it, so I'm not responsible. No. White women voted for the man that's in office. White women supported their husbands when they were beating and raping women who were in slavery. White women have benefited. And so you all need to be careful, though, as black women, what you attach yourself to just because you see it's a woman. Be careful about this feminism, because a lot of times you weren't at the table when they were thinking about their lives in the movement. Now, the good news is that a black woman did create the Me Too movement. But when it was just her voice alone, a lot of people didn't know about it. But it was when a white woman started to attach to the Me Too movement. And I'm not saying that white is right and it's greener on the other side. I'm not even there. In fact, if you know anything about me personally, I don't even get into color, because if we know who we are not crayons. We are not black or white. And that's part of the challenge, is that many of us don't know our bloodline history, so we can't claim our proper status in law. And so when we call ourselves black, when we call ourselves white, we are not claiming our proper status, and we're not able to access our birthright. Go check out my video on entitlements. I know Tisha is looking for that video. And so I say that because it's time for us to do the work. It's time for us to do the play. It's time for us to take the leap. It's time for you to move to another city if that's what you need to do. It's time for you to grow up. It's time to grow up. The little girl identity is carried over into the idea of being an inferior as a wife. Y'all say stuff, and we used to say stuff. Well, the man that findeth the wife findeth a good thing. So that means that you're not supposed, that a woman isn't supposed to choose. Honey, baby, child, the goddess, the woman always chooses. She has always chosen. She has always chosen her lovers. She has always chosen. And now, so what we have to do as women is grow up and deal with the choices that we have made. So, y'all said that I've given you more than enough for today. I want to know, can you feel it? If you have participated in the Juicy You, the door is open. Contact me if you are a Juicy Butterfly alumni and you would like to consecrate yourself in Lent. The reason why I asked you, can you feel it, is because I want to know, what are you consecrating? If you're going into this sacred season that leads to resurrection, which is all about the woman, the resurrection, the Easter egg, the bunnies, all of that is about fertility and the goddess. What are you consecrating? What are you consecrating? Are you consecrating your fear? Are you consecrating your arrogance? Are you consecrating your position? Are you consecrating staying fixed and in your head? And are you consecrating, I already know that, I already got that? Are you consecrating fight or flight? Are you consecrating victimhood? What are you consecrating? Because Lent is today. Now I have a special for those of you who have hung on. Today, if you enroll today, today, I will give a $100 discount today for every woman that pays in full for the Juicy You. If you would like to invite a friend, I have a special for you, Friends Fly Free. That really is for the alumni, for those of you who have participated in the Juicy You. And you can split it in half. You can invite her. I don't know. You let me know how you want to do it. Today. Enroll today. How many of y'all, somebody say today, right now, you gotta do a demonstration. You can't just keep talking about it. You got to do a demonstration. So consecrate purpose, pleasure, and passion. Your purpose, your pleasure, and your passion in the Juicy You. You do that in such an evolved way, I guarantee you that you will be born again. Your marriage can be born again. Your relationship can be born again. Your juicy, sensual self can be born again. Your money can be born again. I'm about that rebirth life. How about you? I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, I said I was going to go through the comments. So here's what will do for the sake of time. I'm going to go back through the comments and respond to you from the keyboard. Just for the sake of time, I know some of you have to go back to work. Thank you for sharing, all of you. Once again, I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't keep your girl a secret. Share me. The Juicy You is all over my wall. The link is above if you'd like to register. Again, I love you.